to know that EQAO testing is flavoring absolutely everything that goes on in a school from grade 1 to grade 8.
It wasn't really something that was meaningful in terms of her learning or what she's getting out of her learning experience.
The teachers can't use it to help your child progress. It robs the teachers of times to work with your children on something that might actually be of use to them as individuals.
The communication and the marking system that I have in my classroom is absolutely more powerful than EQAO could ever be.
The Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario held a meeting of its teacher activists in February 2010. The keynote speaker was Professor Joel Westheimer, a prominent authority on standardized testing in North America.
I sometimes call, when I speak on topics similar to this, I title it No Child Left Thinking, after the No Child Left Behind legislation in the US. And I do that because I think what's going on is not just an attack on things like the arts or other subjects that we all know get pushed to the side by policies like No Child Left Behind or EQAO testing, but it's actually an attack on the reason that a lot of us got into education in the first place, which is helping kids to think for themselves and make meaning of the world.
What is EQAO testing? Provincial standardized tests written by all Ontario students in grades 3, 6, and 9. Only numeracy and literacy are tested. The test results are used by others, including real estate agents, to rank and compare schools.
No one's really asking the most important question, which is, what are the tests for, right? There's all different reasons to test, right? You can test to help improve learning. Clearly, EQAO testing is not about that because the kids don't know what answers they got wrong. They don't learn anything about the process. So it's not to improve learning for that child.
The test results are released 5 months after they're written. Students see only the scores. No review is conducted.
It doesn't affect their grades whatsoever, and it's very difficult to explain to them why it's important for the school and yet why it's not important to them personally.
EQAO tends to be a snapshot of how they do at the end of 3 or 4 years of school.
It's not the beginning and it's not the end all of that student. They're not a level, they're much more than that.
It's not really information that I find useful or helpful in really understanding and knowing where my child is at.
When it's an EQAO test year, I think that entire year's worth of learning and teaching is based around the EQAO.
History has been sidelined, social studies, also science, the arts, recess. In a recent study, 70% of districts in North America scaled back time for teaching in any subject other than math and literacy for the test prep subjects to make room for those subjects. So in some areas, there are whole groups of students, especially the ones who don't do well on the test, who are forbidden from taking any of these subjects until their test scores go up. Now you can imagine this is a wonderful approach to teaching, right? We have a child who's all from like age 6 has already learned they can't do school, right? So let's take them out of the 1 or 2 things that they actually can do, sports, cartooning, whatever it might be, theater, and make sure that they're only engaged in activities that they already know that they are a failure at, right? And let's see how their test scores improve.
There's a lot of prep work involved with EQAO testing, and a lot of teachers feel pressured to teach to the test.
The curriculum is jam-packed as it is, full of strands in which teachers are desperately trying to get into their programming, and this is just takes more time away from doing that already. So it is a real big stress for teachers.
It's taking away all those teachable moments. It's taking away the ability to suddenly say, hey, you know what, let's stop this, because really this is connected to this, and let's go and learn about this for the next 2 hours. Every moment they have now is being pre-programmed, all in the name of raising scores which are of little value to anybody.
what we're continually hearing from teachers in the classroom is that the amount of stress this puts on them, as well as the students, is enormous. The amount of paperwork that we're seeing that EQAO and other data collection sort of activities are now putting on them is beginning to become overwhelming.
Grade 6 mathematics is a really big deal. It's a difficult year for children, and in order to get the math program done by May, when we do our testing, you have to smash math in every day, double and triple the time that you normally would.
Two things that were really good about what we did, and one thing that
Kids are especially grade 3s, are very, very anxious and worried that they might not do very well on the test.
I had to calm the nerves of my class because kids were anxious this year again. So we're trying to support this, but at the same time we know it's causing a lot of anxiety within the parent body as well as the students.
Outside groups are using test scores to rank schools. Property values and enrollment are being affected.
To buy a house in a subdivision based on a rank of a test that is only 3.5 days is quite foolish. I think the school is much, much more than a ranking score. It's the teachers, it's the feeling, it's the parent population, it's everything that we are that EQA is not.
There are alternatives to the standardized testing in use now. Ontario elementary teachers believe that ongoing daily assessments by teachers are better than EQAO testing for evaluating and improving student performance.
Let me just ask you, okay? Raise your hand, please, if you are a member of the Educators Against Teachers, against students knowing how to read or write or add numbers, okay? There's no takers, right? So you might be surprised to hear I am not against even provincial or national testing in some ways. You want some kinds of benchmarks, but the degree, the extent to which it has gone is so out of hand that it has restricted teachers' ability to be professionals in deciding what children need, what individual children need at individual times in their individual classrooms.
Alternatives include eliminate EQAO, or declare a moratorium and have parents, teachers, and government review the current model, or do random testing instead of testing all students.
If it's to establish a benchmark, just to sort of like quality assurance, then random sample testing is perfectly adequate and very legitimate. Again, only for the narrow range of skills and abilities that EQAO testing tests, which is literacy and mathematics.
Okay, but I think you're on the right track. I think you know where you're going. I think because you've already designed.
The best communication I receive about my child's growth is definitely the conversations that I have with their teacher. That might be a phone call, it might be a note in the agenda, it might be a parent-teacher interview, both formally or informally, but it's really just that communication with the teacher themselves.
When a child's parents come and ask what the child is doing and how they're doing in school, I let them know how they're doing socially, emotionally, and academically, because we look at the child's needs as a whole child.
My child's school has such a warm environment, and the teachers are so welcoming, and they care about those kids. So the scores aren't in the top 50 or even the top 100 or whatever. And it gets away from what's important, which is the learner, the child.
If you're concerned about EQAO, please contact your member of provincial parliament and visit our website, www.etfo.ca.